Hi, my name is Rimsha. I'm a first year college student and I'm a Muslim, and I'm going to be answering some questions today. The first question is, how do women's rights differ culturally and religiously? So culturally, women are told not to go outside. They're told not to leave the house unless they're accompanied with an older brother or an older male of their family, like an uncle or dad. They're told not to seek a higher education. They're told not to go out and get a job. They're expected to kind of just stay inside the house and be told to do housework and then end up getting married and then just becoming housewives instead of actually wanting to go out and have a job. But religiously, women are given a lot of rights because they're told to go and seek a higher education and learn about their own rights, and to go and get a job, and to know that just being a housewife isn't written religiously and you can do other things. The other question is, in what ways have women's rights changed from my mom's time to now? So in my mom's time, women weren't allowed to do anything. They weren't even allowed to go out and get groceries unless they were with an older brother or an uncle or something. They weren't allowed to go and get jobs. Most women during my mom's time would stop their education, probably high school or middle school, but now, in today's time, women are allowed to do a lot of things. They're allowed to go out and get a job. They're allowed to become doctors, which during that time only men were allowed to become. Yeah. And the third question is, how is the concept of marriage different stereotypically and religiously? So stereotypically, people usually believe that women are forced into marriages and they're told to marry whoever their parents pick for them. But religiously, marriage is not actually a marriage unless the woman says yes to marrying the guy, and women are allowed to choose who they want to marry, and if they do have the right to divorce also, and if they don't want to marry someone, they have the right to say no. So yeah.
I actually don't know a lot about Islam, so I wouldn't know anything about women's rights or let alone anything about Islam, but I think they do have a few rights.
I don't know a lot about women's rights in Islam. Do Muslim women have rights? Yeah. They're bigger. Islam recognizes women. It recognizes certain things they believe women should do. Islam definitely recognizes women and recognizes that they play certain roles and have certain responsibilities.
If you're talking about Muslim women in the United States, then they definitely do have a right to education here. But if you're talking about other places, I think maybe a few places, but especially with some religions have imposed some restriction on women. I would say probably.
Muslim women do have rights in education. From what I know, they have a lot of basic rights. They're mostly encouraged to be in one sphere of influence, mostly in the house. But I don't think there's anything saying that they can't get an education. Recently, the young lady from Pakistan, Malala, has been pushing towards education for women, and which includes Muslim women. I believe she's Muslim. So they're definitely able to get education. I don't think it's against the teachings of Islam, and there are some current pushes towards it.
I would say that the majority of Islamic men and women, would be considered equal because of changes in political and cultural ideologies over time led them to believe that might as well let men and women be equal, unless that there are orthodox or very traditional Islamic people where men have a slightly higher standing and power status than women.
I don't think men and women are considered equal in Islam. Theologically, or according to the Quran, I think they're pretty equal. Men and women are both acknowledged. They seem pretty equal. But I don't think that politically or socially they are equal, because I think they have certain spheres of influence. So women are very important, but in the sense that they're expected to be the leaders of their households, they're expected to be mothers, they have these certain duties and responsibilities. Men, they also have duties and responsibilities, but they're separate. They're more provision or social and political. Men tend to be more involved in the higher decision making. So they'll be the ones involved on the political level or on the social level. Whereas women are important, but they're important in a different sense and in a different place. And then societally, we consider that to be less important because they were kind of limited on what they can do. And their influence is under the umbrella of influence of the men.
I don't know if Muslim women have the freedom to choose everyone. I think that everyone was just, or the majority of women were mostly betrothed to men, other men.
I think so. I don't know if them not being able to marry someone they choose. I mean, if there are any arranged marriages, I think that's more of a cultural thing or a geographical thing. I think they're able to marry whoever they choose. They might have less of an option because they feel like they don't have an option or they feel they can't speak up. But I think they can. Don't know.
I know for the majority of part, Muslim women do wear hijabs as a form of expressing expressing Islamic religion, but I've seen other Muslim women who don't wear it and yet still wear traditional Islamic clothing. So I would say they don't have to wear their hijabs, but for the majority part they do.
Not all Muslim women wear hijabs. Some of them do, a lot of them do, and that's one distinguishing characteristic for Muslim women. But they don't all wear hijabs. Whether it's a choice or not, I'm not sure what. It's probably more of an interpretation factor. There's probably something in the Quran about covering the head, and they've decided to interpret that as wearing the hijab. And I know that's very large in the Muslim community, that a lot of women do wear it, but I do know some Muslim women who don't wear it. So it's a choice in the sense that most scriptural readings are choices. They are up to interpretation. Now, they're not a choice so much in certain countries that you have to wear them. In that sense, it's not a choice.